Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's Natalie. I am playing with the Christmas Nativity stamp set today, and yeah, we're going to do a little scene, which is no big surprise. I tend to do either very clean and simple, and just minimal cards, or I go whole hog, shall we say. So I'm stamping this down with some Copic Safe ink because you know me. I'm going to stamp him down twice only because why not? Then I'll have another little image that I can use at some other point. So, you know, it's all good. It's all good in the hood. So we'll clean him all up, put him away. I'm going to use this craft cardstock I'm first going to straighten it out. I'm going to do 1 centimeter strips. We've got 4 of those. So we have a little bit left over. I'm going to use some distress inks. I have a multitude of different ones. There's antique linen, which of course is super light, but I just thought it might show up a little bit. Then I went in with the gathered twigs and a little tiny bit of walnut stain, and I'm just lightly rubbing it over the top of the cardstock and then around the edges. At this point, you don't really, until you sort of figure out what you're doing, you don't really need to go around the edges, because I will actually do it again, but that's okay, doesn't matter. I'm going to do the same thing with this bigger piece of cardstock. At this point, it's just for a full panel cardstock, but I will cut that down and trim that up so it looks sort of, you know, liney, very gritty. I've got my normal skin colors here. So we've got the E04, we've also got the E11, the E01, and we're going to go down to the E000. So sometimes I do the 00, sometimes I do the 000. You know what? It's for me, I feel like it's much of muchness. I don't stress too much. I don't think you're going to tell between when I did a 00 or a 000. I don't think you're going to figure it out. I mean, you might go back and go, there you go, there's a difference in past videos, but you know, it's all good. So all the hair is colored the same. I didn't want that to sort of be the focus. So we've got E47, E44 and 43. Just using light flicking motions. I have given Joseph you know what? I forgot his name, which is really, really bad. But I do know it. I gave him a brown beard. The brown hair is just going to go with the flow. It just made it really simple to give him the same coloring as Mary. We're just using light strokes until I'm happy with the coloring. And the little baby Jesus has got the same coloring as well. Next we've got our little sheepies. I did a slightly different combination, which you can see in person, but you know, it's only super, super soft. So I'm using the E70, E40, and we're going to go down to the E40 for a nice soft look. And that's just going to be the same with his face, and then soften that with an O, but I don't even think I really needed to do that much. We're going to call it string. It's not string like the cuffs of his clothes, but around his head, I don't know what it's supposed to be called. They're the same coloring. Got YR27, Y17, and Y11 for our star. I am trimming all these. I'm going to use, there is coordinating dies, but I don't have them. I think they are on their way, or they're in my list of to get, but I don't have them. So I'm going to use the Brother Scan and Cut to trim these babies out. Originally, okay, confession time. Originally I was going to do this color for Mary, but you know, apparently I decided not to. So we have BG72, BG34, BG32, and BG10. They're actually showing up pretty good. I like to tell you the colours mostly because I never really know whether it's very visible, put it that way. But you might be listening to me and crafting yourself, which is perfectly fine. So you might like to hear those colours. All these colours are relatively similar sort of tones. Baby Jesus little blanket and everything else is going to be a little bit more brighter. What we've got here is and I've written it down wrong, the BG72, the B95 and 93. As I said, I was going to do this for Joseph, but that doesn't matter. Right, going down to B91. So she's going to be blue. He's going to be blue-green. Baby Jesus is going to be a little bit more a brighter blue. So his wrap is going to be BG78, as you can see there, BG07, BG05, and BG02. So they're all like a little matchy-matchy family. So I will colour up the other image, but I like it. It's just in my stash, so, I feel like colouring it. I don't use them very often. I probably shouldn't do it. But also at the same point, I'm using the blending card to stamp these on, and so otherwise it's only going to be a small image, so I don't mind stamping out another one for, I don't know, maybe I might give it to one of my nieces or something like that. Who knows? Aunt Donkey is E50, E59, E37, and E35. I've kept it all pretty much. Mary and Joseph, they've got more colours, but I'm trying to keep it sort of a little bit more 3 colour combos at the moment. Just trying to sort of see what I can do with the simpler colours rather than going for the full lot. But, I've already broken that rule. Mary and Joseph both had 4 colouring, 4 markers, skins 4 markers, but it's all good. It doesn't matter. So dear E35. So I'm just trying to make his little muzzle a little bit darker. I'm not worried too much about, I left his tail. Not worrying too much about fur or anything like that. The wood is the E57, the E35 and 33. So it's a little bit different of a colour. It's a slight variation. When you look at the card, it is different. You can see it, but it's looking pretty similar there. The ground, I'm sort of doing it that they're all sitting on straw. Because, the donkey and the sheep, they're going to be on straw. Well, maybe not the sheep. I don't know. Maybe. So the straw was the E55, E53, and E50. So I just continued that through with some stripes, some long lines to make it out that it's straw. So I'm sort of working out where my barn is going to be. I know I'm a little bit close, so apologies, but when you get to doing the barn, you might figure it out. There we go. So I'm going to trim him down a little bit. I'm trimming it down to what I would normally do as a card front, but it's going to be cut down even more. I've gone around the edges with I haven't written it down and I can't read it. So one of the darker colours, the walnut stain probably, around the edges, just to finish that off. I didn't know what I wanted to do at this point with it. So it's a work in progress. Just giving an idea, I'm going to mark roughly where I want everything to sit. It is purely eyeballing it. I'm not stressed about this whatsoever. I'm putting a little bit of foam tape right in the middle because it's going to be coming off the edge of the panel, what I want to be the edge of the panel. So I'm just trying to make sure that I'm just a tiny bit over that edge of the line that I've marked. So a rough eyeball of the center and a rough eyeball down, basically sort of almost in the middle, going down the sides. But don't stress. Don't stress whatsoever. So I'm pretty happy with the way this is looking. I've put foam underneath all of those strips. We're trimming that down a little bit so it's overlapping. And as you can see, I've trimmed back the background that I have of it. So the roof and the sides of the barn are going to pop out a little bit. I mean, Mary and Joseph, I'm also going to raise up, but just so a little bit more dimension. I'm just going to roughly mark down. Can you see my cardstock there? It sort of looks woody because it's of how you're doing it with the fine line. You've got lines on it and makes it give the impression of a plank. I'm not colouring the whole lot of my craft cardstock because, as you can see there, it's going to be covered, so it's all good. But it looks like a little bit of, there's a ground. They're not floating around in mid-air. I mean, the stamped image has got a cute little ground, but it just sort of ties it in a little bit more. Do my Mary and Joseph have all been stuck down. At this point, I'm like, what do I do? So what I'm going to do is use some masking tape. Now I can't remember what this masking tape is, but it is, especially if you put it onto your clothes, you can use it over and over again, obviously, and you can see exactly where you are and what you're doing, and it's nice and clear. But there's plenty of, you don't have to use this stuff. There's plenty of other bits and pieces. I've used the Rustic Wilderness and for our grass. This is going to, again, I haven't written it down. I will figure that out and I will write it down. But I'm going to say it's pretty much going to be, usually my go-to is about salty ocean. A little bit of white paint. But I will figure that out and I'll leave it down in the comment box in the description bar below. A little bit of white paint. I get this stuff everywhere. Now, don't do what I do. Don't put your masking tape down when it's wet. But we're going to cover that up because we don't restart things. We're just going to go with the flow and fix it all up. For a little while here, you're going to go, I can still see that. It looks like a hot mess. But if you look at the card, at the end of the day, if you look at the card, you are not going to see it. There's a few little darker spots. But saying that, we've also got, this is a bit of black soot coming in just to make it a little bit extra darker because to me, I wasn't happy with it. It just looks like a little bit of extra grass because we're going to do a little bit of flicking motion for some grass, which is going to be YG67 and YG63. So any dark lines underneath our little scene here is going to be totally covered up. So we've got a couple other little marks floating around. That's going to be pretty much our little card. Raise it up with a bit of foam, of course, because, dimension is the bee's knees. The top of this card does go over the top of the barn, I should say, or the barn. Will go over it, over the base of the card, but I'm not worrying about that. I ummed and ahed about putting a sentiment on here, and my husband was pretty much like, where are you going to put it? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, I think you're going to destroy it if you put a sentiment on. So that's it. That's it for me. I hope you're well. I hope you're safe. Take care. Talk soon.